Today, I want to dive into talking a little bit more about midlife health and mental health. This is a topic that I am extremely passionate about talking about and normalizing. I want women to understand that when you get into this next level of health evolution, that there is a very large mental and emotional component to it. And for so many of us, we've been made to feel like what we're experiencing maybe isn't real, that somehow we're crazy, that we just need to muscle through and figure out how to deal with it. And I'm here to tell you that that's not the way. I'm here to tell you that there are so many amazing resources, practitioners, coaches, tools, tips, tricks, testing, supplementation, things that we can do from a lifestyle standpoint, so much that is crucial to continue to talk about in this specific season of health for women. If you've been here for a while, you maybe know that my specific journey related to really starting this podcast and diving into more of what I've been doing in my own personal brand and as a coach all started from my own mental health journey. Now, I have had very different seasons postpartum after all four of my babies. And in those seasons, I started to experience mental health like I never had before, right? Anxiety and depression that felt really intense, really, really low mood, really low motivation, really unlike myself. And there was a lot that I had to figure out how to manage in that season. I worked with therapists, I worked with doctors, and I really worked on health components, specifically lifestyle components, in order to help myself feel a lot better. And in those seasons, I always was able to kind of put the pieces together in order to help myself get to this place of really feeling better than I had during those seasons. But here's the thing, and this is what I've learned as I've stepped into midlife health, and as I've learned more about perimenopause and hormonal fluctuation and really what happens when we get into this midlife season of our life. Our health changes again, and our mental health changes again. And the mental health that I have experienced this go around, even in comparison to my postpartum mental health journeys, has felt just as intense, if not more intense and harder than those specific situations that I have already personally gone through. That's one of the reasons I want to talk about this concept of midlife health and mental health, because we don't have enough information about really what happens inside our bodies and even more so our brains as we get into this season of intense hormonal fluctuation, of really stressed out lives, of just not feeling like ourselves. My mental health journey has been filled with all kinds of ups and downs. And one of the things I really was drawn to when I was exploring this idea of root cause medicine, functional medicine, getting proper testing, and working with knowledgeable practitioners was this idea around, how do I get to a place of helping my mental health? How do I get to this place of really understanding what's going on with my brain in this season? I've shared this in the past and I'll share it again. My symptoms were things like really intense rage, really extreme fatigue, exhausted to the max, stressed to the max, really feeling low on overall energy. Like I said, really intense fatigue. I had really high highs and really low lows. A lot of days and moments where I was struggling like I had when I was a teenager with things like body image, confidence, and the soundtracks I was telling myself. All of those things, it was like the floodgates opened and it all came flooding back. And it was really unnerving to experience all that again when I had felt like I had done the work, I had created the tools, I had created the habits, I have what I need in place. That's really what I thought. But what I've learned is we never really have exactly what we need in place because our health evolves over time. So as I've learned in midlife health, when our bodies are going through these really intense hormonal fluctuations, that plays a major role in how we feel mentally. That plays a major role in how we feel emotionally, because our health is intricately connected. And I want to continue to talk about this really important topic because I want women to understand that what you may be experiencing in your midlife health journey is very, very real. That's why I'm so passionate about not only sharing my story, but also talking about how to get you connected to other practitioners that are doing this work, other coaches that are doing this work, how to come into my program and work with me on lifestyle, how to really truly link arms with like-minded community that understands exactly what you might be experiencing. So I actually had a conversation last week. I've started to share more about just kind of my supplement protocol, what I've been personally working on in my own health journey, things that I've been implementing, lifestyle habits I've been changing. And one of the things that I've also been starting to dive into is bio-HRT, which is bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Bio-HRT is essentially an option that women have where you can start to supplement hormones that have started to become depleted in midlife. So if you are someone that's maybe newer to learning about perimenopause health or midlife health, hormonal fluctuations, what's actually happening, I will drop some resources in the show notes of this podcast for you to start to look at and research more about what is midlife health, what is perimenopause, how is that potentially affecting my mental and emotional well-being, and what do I need to get educated about? Here's what you need to know. As I've shared on several different podcasts, hormones are responsible for so many things inside our bodies, and they are also very much a part of our mental health story. So when our hormones are not optimally functioning, or they start to get depleted, or they start to not be produced at the same capacity as they once were because we're getting older, because we're in midlife, because our body is aging and changing, there is a very strong possibility that you will start to feel symptoms in your body and your brain. And that's been my experience. I've experienced all kinds of things in my body, but mostly in my brain. My mental health journey has been really the catalyst for wanting to dive deeper and become more of a resource like I never have before inside this space for women. I don't like when I'm in conversations with friends, in the community, over the internet, in groups I'm in, where I hear the debilitating symptoms women are feeling and they feel alone, they feel unsupported, they feel like they've been gaslit by a doctor, they feel like their story doesn't matter because nobody is really listening and hearing what they have to say about their experience. That is heartbreaking for me to hear as a coach. And it's heartbreaking for me to hear as a woman. I don't want women or anyone to feel alone on their health journey, to feel isolated in their experience, to feel like what they are going through doesn't have relevance or isn't real or doesn't matter. That's not the reality. I want women to be able to talk through these harder topics and be able to feel supported when they're talking about the symptoms that they're having. And so that's one of the most profound things that I've personally learned inside my midlife health journey through proper testing, through diving deeper on my personal imbalances and deficiencies. I have learned firsthand where my body needs support. So my debilitating fatigue, what was that a result of? My rage, what was that potentially a result of? My really low energy, what was that a result of? My low libido, what was that a result of? There are correlations with all of these symptoms to very specific hormonal depletions or in deficiencies and imbalances. And this is something that I want to keep talking more about because women need to know. Recently, in a conversation actually with our neighbor, I had her ask me a little bit more about my work, a little bit more about, diving into root cause, working with functional medicine, getting proper testing done. And then we started to talk a little bit about bio-HRT, and we talked a little bit about, whether or not it's actually effective. She asked me straight up, is bio-HRT worth it? Does it actually work? Does it make a difference? And here's my answer. A resounding yes times 1,000. And here's why I know this. As I got targeted testing and as I started to learn my personal deficiencies and imbalances, I was able to work my way into a very specific personalized protocol just for me. And as I did that, it was like a light switch for my body, especially mentally. For me, what I was starting to experience, especially during certain cycle phases, was just a really short fuse, very little patience, high anxiety, really hard time sleeping, just feeling kind of wired all the time. And once I started to get into replacing my hormones and very strategic, specific supplementation and diving into bio HRT that I knew was going to actually serve my body because I had the data that as far as what my body needed, it changed the game for me mentally. Within 2 to 3 days, I felt the difference mentally. And I'm talking fatigue, I'm talking anxiety, I'm talking stress management, I'm talking just overall motivation, not feeling so wired, and getting to this place of actually being able to get into my parasympathetic nervous system and calm down and get into this place of feeling more grounded and feeling better in my day, having more patience, having, less things really bothering me. That was all part of the story of me starting to actually get into really specific supplementation and really specific strategies like bio HRT after working with a knowledgeable practitioner. Here's the thing I want to share before I kind of end today's message. There's a lot of information inside women's health right now, especially hormone health. There's a lot of information about things like hormone replacement therapy. There's a lot of information about different kinds of supplements. It feels like every day I go online, there's a new supplement company, there's a new supplement strategy, there's a new way to potentially target your symptoms and help your body. And here's what I want you to know. The biggest thing that's going to serve you most is working with a knowledgeable practitioner and starting to get very targeted testing on your specific body so you can learn your bio individual needs. The second thing is really making an effort to know that it's a process and there really needs to be a strategic and sequential process to this uncovering of what your health may need, especially in this midlife season. I really went through personally a very strategic process that has been years in the making, starting with gut health, doing very specific testing, slowly implementing protocols, slowly making lifestyle and nutritional changes, slowly working my way into hormone health, and then getting hormone health specific testing, and then slowly working my way into different layers of protocols. It's like peeling back an onion. There are layers to it and there's strategy to it. And it takes the right people, the right practitioners, the right coaches to really guide you through that process in order to help you really get to a place that's going to essentially move you in the direction you may want to go. I personally would never recommend somebody dives right into bio HRT without very strategic testing, without very specific lifestyle changes, without really addressing the foundations of health first. That's what I've really been working through in my own health journey. That's what I work through with my clients. And that's what I want to encourage other women to do. When it comes to things like targeted supplementation and things like bio HRT, incredibly powerful tools and things that I want women to get educated about because they can be powerful tools in your toolbox. But until you really focus on the foundations of wellness, exercise, stress management, sleep, nutrition, really working on that from a big picture perspective and getting into a very strategic plan that works for your personal lifestyle, those additional components like supplementation and bio HRT will likely not be the thing that really helps, create this sense of optimization without the foundations I just talked about. It has to be working on every single piece of the wellness puzzle. So as always, I hope and pray that this message today gave you a little bit of validation, hopefully in some way. Maybe it encouraged you in some way. Maybe it gave you some new information. I really hope that as I continue to share my journey and normalize these really important conversations, that you either reach out to me so we can talk more about how we can work together, how I can help guide you towards resources and tools and tips and tricks that maybe can help you build the foundation a little bit more with your lifestyle, get connected to people that can help you dive deeper if that's something you desire, or help you just get connected to other practitioners, doctors, amazing people in this space that can help you feel your best from the inside out. I want you to know that if you are someone who is really experiencing the mental health component when it comes to this midlife health season, that it is very, very real and you are not alone. I have very much experienced the same thing, and I'm constantly trying to figure out what can I do to tweak in my regimen, in my lifestyle, in stress management and sleep, and with my doctors and my practitioners when it comes to personalized protocols, supplementation, therapies, etc., that I can continue to put the pieces together to help myself feel my best from the inside out. Health really truly is wildly individual. It's unique to every single one of us. And I will say this for forever because I think it's really important for women, especially, to hear this when we've been marketed one size fits all kinds of tactics for so long in our society. If you really want to get to the deep dive core holistic health practices that are really going to work for your specific lifestyle, work with a coach, work with a practitioner, work with someone who really understands hormone health and women's health and female physiology, who can help you get targeted in your effort so it's efficient, so it's productive, so it's actually going to be working with you rather than against you. Thanks as always for tuning in. See you in the next one.